That's the old man here, and yak shamash. 39 days in the hole, I think. Doing okay. I did break down and watch the news yesterday for about 10 minutes, but same old, same old. I wasn't impressed, so I just turned it off. So, got the good furniture, got sunshine, and vitamin D kicking in good. I got the lady friend here. You okay, lady? Yeah, we'll see how that works out. Yeah, I got a request to tell some D.O.T. stories, some more D.O.T. stories. Thank you. In fact, check this out. I can't edit. I found this in a bunch of garbage. It's the original Highway Department logo. Supposedly, the Masons, the Shriners, started it. But that was all hearsay. Yeah, the old guys told me that they started it, and to work with them you had to be a Mason. And that evolved to where if you wanted to be a supervisor, you had to be a Mason, and then it just got to the point where the common man could get going in there too. Hey, lady. So yeah, that was a good time. A lot of adventure. Had a lot of fun. I had some scary times too, but yeah, for a young buck, I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I finally transferred out after 2 guys I knew got hit by cars and died, and I thought, I'm out of here. So yeah, today I'm going to do a couple stories about D.O.T. One of them is going to be about snow camp. East of Enumclaw on Highway 410 on Chinook Pass used to be a place called Snow Camp, and it was inside the park. And even when I worked there, they wanted to get it out of there, and they finally did. So there's not even a sign or nothing. But I want to tell you about that place. That was cool. It was built in the early 40s, maybe. Yeah, it had bunkhouses, it had a kitchen, had a cook. I'll tell you all about that later. But today, convict labor. Every year, we would get a certain amount of convicts to work with us. And for the most part, they were good guys. There was a few of them I met that I didn't trust, but for the most of them, they had learned their lesson and wanted to move on in life and do something besides sit in the joint. So yeah, they were eager to work. They were eager to keep their nose clean and do a lot of stuff. The first day, we had I think 5 of them, and we had a crew cab pickup. And the job was, we went up to the Mowich Road, which is one of 2 dirt highways that Washington State has. One's in eastern Washington, we had the other one. Kind of the backside into Mount Rainier up to Mowich Lake. And the boss says, I want you guys to go up there and get a bunch. Popular place. So yeah, the boss says go up there and take some pole saws and chainsaws and cut the branches back 20 feet of a 2-mile section or something. So we get up there and everybody's raring to go. A couple of them didn't have cigarettes, so they're jonesing, so I bought them a pack of Top Tobacco. And we got up there and they're rolling up, and this one guy, Sean, great big guy. He was my size with another 50 pounds. Full beard, bald head. I mean, he looked the convict type. And all the way up there, he didn't say nothing, where everybody else was kind of making small talk. And we get up there and we get out of the truck and everybody's kind of stretching and getting ready to go, and all of a sudden, where's Sean? I don't know. Hey, we looked all over. Hey, Sean, we yelled, no answer. And I'm thinking the guy ran. I mean, we're like 25 miles from the nearest small town. And I'm going, what the heck? And, you know, so I get on the radio and call this guy in or whatever. And finally, 25 minutes later, here comes Sean out of the woods, putting his suspenders back on. I go, hey, what's going on? And I'll paraphrase what he said. He used a lot more colorful language than this. He basically said, I've been locked up for 16 years, and I wanted to go in the woods and relieve myself and just enjoy quiet and to be in the woods. And I thought, I told him, I understand that, but just let me know next time. I said, I thought you took off. And he laughed. And we became good friends after a period of time. Once I established with those guys that I wasn't a screw, and I just wanted to work with them and treat them with respect, and it worked out good. I got notes over here and the wind's blowing it. I can't see it. And I used to say every morning, we'd get up to the job site and I'd get out of the truck and I'd go, all right, convicts, let's get to work. Like out of some kind of an old movie. And everybody laughed, but this one day there was a guy who was new on the crew, had never been with us. And I said that, and he got mad to the point of almost wanting to fight me. And Sean, the big guy, goes, hey, cool, he's all right. He's just giving us a bad time. He's cool. So the guy settled down, and, you know, he didn't last a week. I don't know if he went AWOL or what, but I can say a few of the guys I wouldn't trust. The rest of them, being the hopeless optimist, maybe I shouldn't have trusted them, but nothing ever bad happened. They were okay. The guys all carried their lunch in a paper sack, and they all had prison coats, prison gloves, prison pants. Their boots were prison issue, and they were like black high tops with either yellow or orange thread that held the soles on the shoes. I mean, it was obvious they were different. And I actually saw a guy a year later in a store with shoes like that, and I wondered if he was just got out of the can. So I'm watching these guys with their lunch sacks, and I was in the shop and I found a lunch box, and I put a coat of paint on it and gave it to Sean. Cool, man, he loved it. Anything new, they cherished it, basically. And then people said, well, how come Sean gets it and I didn't, and blah, 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 blah. He just said tough. He was the biggest one there. They aren't going to argue with him. A week later, I'm at a yard sale, and here this guy had a cardboard box with at least a half a dozen lunch boxes in different stages of repair. So I fixed up a bunch of them and gave them all to him, and they were cool. They were the working man now. They didn't have to deal with paper sacks anymore. One of the guys, I can't think of his name, they made their own lunches, and at the time my lunch consisted of an apple and a sandwich. Money was tight, kids were little. And he took it upon himself. We get to sit down at lunch one day, open it up, and gives me a sandwich and a bag of cookies. And I go, well, what's this all about? And he goes, hey, you deserve more than just that. He goes, we get them for free. So every day, I can't think of his name. Anyway, he brought me extra lunch. It was cool. And like I say, we became friends. And his dream was he wanted to get out of the joint and go roller skating. And he would tell us that often. And the other guys are like, yeah, get out of here, that's stupid. And he goes, no. He started showing us all these moves and things he could do on roller skates. He goes, I've been thinking about that for 5 years. So I hope he got to skate like, you know what. They all had very colorful language. And that's what he wanted to do. And that same guy, we're up there working, and the chainsaw wasn't running good, and we got it running, started, and it's kind of crapping out. And he says, I can fix it. And I said, okay, go for it. And in the truck, we didn't have a toolbox, but we had miscellaneous road find tools and crescent wrench and some other stuff. And here we go again. So he flips down the tailgate, and I know. He flips down the tailgate and lines up all these tools. And I go back 20 minutes later, half hour, and he's got it stripped down to almost the frame. I mean, he's got, I think, the engine off everything. He had it tore way down. And I just looked at him and, well, we'll see what happens. And I come by an hour later, and he's got that thing running, and it purred. I don't know what all he did, but man, that thing had never ran better. And I told him, I said, man, good job. And he was pretty happy, because it takes a lot of skill to open up that thing and get it running good. And yeah, it was fun. And yeah, being in the can all that time, they were excited to be up in the woods. And a couple times, snow days, if it was snowing, kind of, we would work. But if it was really going and wind blowing and stuff, we just built a big fire and told stories. It was pretty cool. In fact, I made a lot of trust points because I knew a few guys that had been in the can, and they knew him. So it was like, yeah, they'd let their guard down. They trusted me, and I trusted them for the most part. This other guy, Jim, he was a big, tall Norwegian guy, and he was like a white-collar criminal. He stole business paychecks and forged them, and heroin addict, so that didn't last very long. He ended up in the can for, I think, 6 years. But he, at the time I would read the PI paper every day at lunch. And after lunch, I'd got the paper, I'm just gonna throw it on the dashboard or whatever, and he says, can I have that paper? I go, yeah, sure, why? And he took and methodically folded it up so it looked almost new, and he said, that's my evening entertainment as I sit and read the paper. So after I read it, I'd give it to Jim, and he was happy about it. And one day, that same guy, Jim, we had some asphalt that we couldn't use on the road. And instead of just dumping it up in the pit, I would take it to my place, and from the back porch to the chicken yard, various areas had a nice asphalt walkway. It was kind of cool. The kids used to love to lay on it in the summertime because it'd be so warm. And so we're at the house unloading a Jag. It might have been a 2 wheelbarrow full. I did it piecemeal. It took a while. And across the street, there's this truck. Bam, bam! Jim is under the truck on his belly, and I go, a little bit head shy, aren't you? And he kind of get up, well, you know, you just don't know and stuff. And I thought, hey, who knows? He knew what to do when he thought there was guns flying. It was fun. Like I say, I hope those guys got things squared away, because, I mean, we've all done things we regretted, and God's grace or dumb luck, I didn't end up in the can. Yeah, it was one of my main reasons to get out of SeaTac, was because, yeah, everybody was dying or going to prison, and I didn't want either one of them. I'd much rather be up here with Lady. Yeah. You don't have any geese in the joint. You know, the stories those guys would tell about prison and all the crap they had to put up with, and yeah, you name it. Walla Walla, this guy Jim worked in the greenery, not greenery, greenhouse, I guess, or something. And once a month or something, somebody would drive by and throw kilos of weed over the fence. And he said they had to have known, and he figured they just let that slide because kept everybody calm or something. And it wasn't his deal, but he had to be cool about it and didn't tell anybody about it. Probably got a cut, I'm sure. Yeah, a lot of stuff. I mean, yeah, that'd be a whole different story. And that Jim guy, he quoted a scripture one time. He said, "I was hungry and you fed me, and I was naked and you clothed me." And I don't know the rest of it, but I did. And I didn't even really realize it until he pointed it out. I would buy him coffee and tobacco and stuff because they were all busted. They didn't have any money. And coats. Yard sale or anything, I would find a good work coat and give it to one of the guys, and they took off the state issue one and basically just threw it in the truck. They didn't care. In fact, I had a couple of them that I had given away. It's like they had some kind of stitching on the collar that was off color. So if you knew what you were looking for, you could tell where they came from. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, some of them I didn't care for, some of them I wouldn't trust at all, but Sean and the guy that worked on the motorcycle and Jim, the big guy, yeah, good guys that just wanted to move on with their life. And another, Kurt asked me this a year ago. So did you know anything about the Green River Killer? Yeah, I did. I rode the same bus with the guy. He was a senior when I was a sophomore, and always by himself, a loner. But what I'm getting at, I'm working down in Kent for the highway department, and well, that was the main office. We worked in Enumclaw. Safety meetings were in Kent. And during the safety meeting, the boss gets up and he goes, "Hey, we need some volunteers to go flagging for the city of Kent." Sure, I didn't like sitting around in the... Safety meetings are good. You need them. But at that point, I just said, I'll go flag traffic. So me and another guy, they said, go get the sign truck, which is a pickup that had men working ahead, one lane closed, flagmen and stuff. And we get up there, and on this, parked by the bridge over the Green River was Kent Police, King County Sheriff, a whole mess of people there. And they said, well, what we want you to do is, we're going to pull a truck up onto the bridge and remove a body. Okay. We set it all up, and I was at the end where the work was. And a coroner pulled his rig up there, and from down by the river, they brought out a body in a black plastic bag. And when they walked up there, I wasn't even 5 feet from that person. The first Green River victim. And at the time, I just thought, I didn't have a clue what it was, but it sure it makes you think about mortality and all that stuff. Yeah, I'll tell some more stories about D.O.T. Snow camp, all this stuff. But speaking of mortality, we're driving down the freeway, excuse me, down by Sumner. And there's a car on the side of the road, and there's people flagging us down. I jump out. What's going on? Call the paramedics. We got an injury here. And this was a bad one. there's a guy laying there, and what had happened, steel pipe had bounced down the road and went through the windshield and hit him right in the face, right in the forehead. And we rolled him over, and it was bad. It was like, yeah, he's pretty much on his way out. Paramedics finally showed up. I'm holding his head, and the guy died in my hands, and it was like, boy, you talk about a humbling experience. And this was before AIDS and all that stuff, so my hands got blood on them, and I told the guy, the boss, I said, let's go up to the other shop. I need to clean up and stuff. And he looked, he goes, yeah, okay, we'll do that. And he goes, I'm glad that happened to you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, yeah, it will be in your mind forever, and it certainly does make you think twice about what could be. When that guy was laying there, I looked at the watch on his arm and the pens in his pocket with a notepad and all this stuff, and I thought, man, it's over. And it was just, he's just driving down the road. And the guy who was driving the truck where the pipe bounced out, he was there too, and he was freaked out. And the paramedics are like, are you okay? You okay? I said, I'm okay. I said, go over and take care of that guy, because he wasn't doing good at all. Yeah, thank God for every day. We don't know what's around the corner. Huh, lady? Yeah, so with that, the old man will be back. Yeah, 39 days. You guys stay safe. It's gone way beyond wash your hands. Just wash your hands and disinfect everything from the outside world. I've been keeping busy. We got the flower beds have never looked better. Got a lot of time. Huh, lady? Here. Come here, trouble. Yeah, she's scratching my back. Yes, you are. I know. Well, maybe next time she'll be up in my lap. Yeah, thank you for the request, and I will do some more. That snow camp, I'm trying to find pictures of it. I went on the internet this morning. I couldn't find anything. Yeah, it was that brown color that all Park Service buildings are covered, that kind of dark brown. I think 4 or 5 bays, and behind it was the snow camp, where they had, like I say, bunk beds downstairs and a big kitchen, and the stories the old guys told me about that place, and I'll share them with you. What? You okay? Hey. Oh, get out of here. So, happy trails and yak shamash to you. And what do you think, lady? Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like I say, all winter long she could care less. Now she's in love with Dad, I guess. Ow! Don't bite my armpit. You guys take care. Ouch. Thanks for stopping by and watching all the way to the end. Take care, my friends. Bye.